Hey, Arman here. Welcome to the NSP Nutrition Show, where we cover training, nutrition, supplementation strategies, and a whole lot more. So stand by. Hey, and welcome to the NSP Nutrition Show. I'm Arman Eckelbarger.
And I am Frank Mills, and welcome to the show today. We've got a lot of great content for you today. Arm and I were going to be talking about Program 11 of the Master Series. This is it. It's the last piece to the puzzle. So stand by for that. And then we're going to talk about Vince's maximum definition diet. So a lot of good content today. And, Arman, you always come up with great content for the show. But the last piece of the puzzle today on the Master Series, number 11, right?
Yeah, I gotta say, it's quite a document. So, and then, he covers a lot of these diets in there, just like with the wild physique and stuff. So, but it's a different era when he talks about this versus the wild physique, which I thought was pretty unique too. But yeah, great document. Also, NSP finally got it on the website, so it's available now. So if you want to get the Master Series, you can get it digital. It's available. Just so if you've been watching all this and listening to it, now if you want more, we have the actual document that you can download.
There you go. All right. So yeah, the NSP website. Oh my gosh. Every time I log in, it looks better and better, and new content, and wow, just great products, easy to find, clicking around. I mean, I was having fun the other day just going on, and they're doing a great job enhancing and improving the website. A lot of new products and a lot of new things. If you haven't been there in a while, man, workout gear, new apparel, lots of stuff from Vince that you can get, and of course the great supplements. So definitely go and check out nspnutrition.com for all the great new and products that they've already had too. But anyway, so Arman, Program 11. Let's get into it. What's involved in Program 11 of the Master Series?
Okay, so this is the final chapter, which was a lot of information, more so than I realized. So we're probably not going to cover everything like I would prefer, but we're going to hit the highlights, and probably that's what most people are looking for. But this is where Vince finishes the program of the different. Finishes the document of the different things he recommends to his clients.
Okay.
So then he calls this last chapter the advanced bodybuilding techniques. And this is comprised of pumping the muscles for size and maximum growth. That's really what he's getting at in this part of the book. So he talks about other new stuff he feels is different, like triple compounds, double compounds, super and flush sets for training, along with he finished up with the maximum definition diet in that part. So it was quite a bit of information. We're going to hit the key highlights and see what people think.
Well, that sounds good. I'm looking forward to that. So I'm sure that Vince has changed up the training again, probably up the intensity. Is that some of the things he's probably done?
Oh, yeah. So, what he did, I was kind of surprised, but he split the body parts up to a different way in my opinion. So that was one of the things I found pretty intriguing.
So tell us a little bit more about what you mean by that.
Like what he did for this last round is he split the workouts up for 3 days, which he's done in the past. But his focus with this split was on arms, in my opinion, arms and forearms. So that was day one, which I found that kind of intriguing. And then he went to day two, is all the large muscle groups like chest, back, and shoulders. There's the large muscle groups all in one day. And then day three, he's into the thighs, hamstrings, and calves. So he's starting to bring in more hamstring exercises at this stage. to work on that, because in his day there wasn't a lot of hamstring equipment, and so people didn't really pay attention to that. You just got your hamstring movements from doing the squats and other movements, squat based movements, and then lunges would also hit the hamstrings as well, and some stiff leg deadlifts. But there wasn't a lot of equipment, so now he's starting to engage that more so with his routines. So, like, in my opinion, based on how he structured this, his focus was to work on the arms. Now, Vince wasn't known to have really big arms. From as you look at his pictures, they were balanced, but at the same time, they could have been a little bigger. So I think this was something that he felt like he wasn't as strong on as he would like to be, because this is some of the routines he did. So I'm thinking that's part of the reason why. But I don't know for sure.
So, Arman, is there anything that you would structure a little differently yourself?
Yeah, I would normally start with arms. Now, one of the reasons is because my arms developed, reasonably well. But I didn't always start with arms. At my first beginning days, I was following Arnold Schwarzenegger's program, which was just ridiculously long and way too many exercises. I mean, I was wore out. But either way, the focus was always working your larger muscle groups early in the week, and then finish up with the smaller muscle groups, which the arms are a small muscle group, and they can be trained a little more often as well, because where they're located, the recovery is really good.
Okay.
Because they're smaller, your heart's right there with your arms is. You got good blood flow, and you tend to recover pretty quickly. Now, some people do struggle with their arms, and it's probably a genetic component to it, or in a lot of cases, just how they train them. Because I had to learn a lot of different ways to approach my arms when I was training them to get them to really do what I want them to do. But once I hit that sweet spot, they started really producing, and which was great, because everybody wants a good set of arms, guns as they call them. But that was where I was as well.
Okay. So, what about sets and reps?
So at this point, now he's going to, in most of the workouts, there are some exceptions, but it's 4 sets of 12 reps. So he's got a little higher rep scheme, but he did have some adjustments, like on the triple compounds with the incline curls. He had that a little bit more uniquely structured, which I found pretty interesting. But it was intriguing how he did it.
So this would be a good time to talk about triple compounds, because sure a lot of folks out there maybe don't know what that is.
Yeah, so it can get a little confusing understanding how he was using the word compounds. Okay. But with the triple compound, from what I could understand, like when I think of 3 exercises back to back, I call that a tricep.
Okay.
But with the triple compounds, he also did a lot of compound type exercises that might have something to do with the naming of it.
Yeah. Okay.
But like for the triceps, he had 3 different what I would consider compound movements. So just so you know, a compound movement is one that affects more than just one muscle group. Okay. So unlike an isolation exercise, you're just focused on one part of the muscle. So the compound ended up engaging more muscles. So with the triple compounds, he would do a pullover press, and then he would go to a barbell pullover, and then go to the neck press for the tricep. He had a different way of doing neck press for the tricep, and he would do 12 reps each of these movements. Again, there's no rest, so you just did 1 set only. So
Gotcha.
that's a pretty demanding round of training. So, which I think that's a pretty good combination personally for my own. I've never really done it that way, so I'd recommend it if you haven't ever tried it, because I'm going to try it. But I haven't done it yet because of other things I've been working on. But I think if you haven't tried it, I want to give that a shot. As long as you understand those exercises, that would help. Now after that, though, and then he does a 90-degree rope pull for 4 sets of 12 reps to kind of finish the triceps off. So that's your tricep workout. So good, quick, high intensity type of session, and then that knocks that out.
Interesting. Okay. So I guess then we move on to the biceps. Is there an exercise that he came up with that?
Yeah, so with he had a triple compound for that as well.
Okay.
So with that one, he used what he called a diametric bar. So if you're not familiar with what a diametric bar is, that's a simple word for Olympic bar. That
Olympic
was
bar.
becoming
Okay.
more popular in the gym. So, but that's what it was originally called, a diametric bar. Anyways, he would do the diametric bar with the preacher curls with a body drag curl. So you'd go do the preacher curl, rest, and go to body drag curl, rest, and then go back to preacher curl, body drag curl. So it's 4 sets of 12 as you're alternating back and forth for
Mm-hmm.
each of those sets. So I could see that being pretty taxing. And then on the triple compound incline curls, which I mentioned earlier, this is where he gets really creative. So here he has you do with the incline curls, you use the dumbbells and you're going to let the dumbbells hang, and then you're going to do 4 reps, one at a time. You alternate, so your left arm, you curl it up and then you let it go back down. Then the right arm, you curl it up, let it go back down. You're going to alternate for 4 reps back and forth. Then without any rest, you're going to do 4 reps with both hands, curling, all the way down and all the way up. And then
Mm-hmm.
after that, you're going to bring the dumbbells to the top and hold it in a contracted position. And you're going to do one arm at a time again, alternating back and forth. So he had you do this one for a total of 12 reps, and that was just one set. So he had you do 4 total sets. So that he's really up in the intensity and the volume here, definitely on this particular program.
Wow. Okay. So what about the forearms?
So the forearms, he had a different approach. He did a 2 count barbell wrist curl. So you're really flexing and contracting the forearm, and he had
Mm-hmm.
you do 12 reps with that, and then you would break. Then after that he had you do a preacher reverse curl using a preacher curl, and you do the reverse curl, and then then you would rest, and then go for you go back to the wrist curl. So you got to go back and forth between the preacher and the wrist curl, even though you already done one. He had you do 2 sets of that for 12 reps. So I thought, well, okay, that's a good way to finish off. I mean, your forearms are going to be pretty fried anyways, just hanging on to the
Yeah.
dumbbells, the bar, and that kind of stuff.
That sounds pretty technical. Sounds like he really thought this out, as usual, right? So
Oh yeah.
that's it for day one. What did he do for day two?
All right. So on this part, this is where he brings in supersets, and you work on large muscle groups. So I was really intrigued by how he's going to do that. So he starts out with, and he calls them supersets at this point, which that's why I was a little bit kind of confused on compounds versus supersets. And you may get the same impression, but at the end of the day, you'll kind of figure out what he's saying here. But
Mm-hmm.
he supersets the pecs with the lats. So you're going to go from a chest exercise to back exercise. And like from my perspective, I would do the opposite. I would do a back exercise first. It's a large muscle group, demands a lot of blood volume, and then
Mm-hmm.
go to the chest. But I guess Vince felt like his back. I would say he felt like his back responded pretty well, so he always favored doing the chest and then the back. So, but anyways, you would superset these 2 movements. So you do like a neck press, which is working your upper chest, and then you go right to the barbell bent row, which Vince he didn't really use that exercise very much, but this is when he
Mm-hmm.
did. So you're doing 12 reps of each exercise, and then you're going to rest. But then he would actually change it up. After the second round, he, instead of doing the barbell neck press, then he goes to wide parallel dips, medium wide parallel dips, as he called it, and
Mm-hmm.
then again doing the barbell row as a superset. And then you get break. Then you go back to the neck press and superset that with barbell rows. He did all this for 8 sets of 12 reps. So basically 4 supersets of these movements. So 2 of them would be neck press, and 2 of them would be medium grip parallel dips to kind of give you a comparison. But all
Mm-hmm.
8 of them are going to be barbell rows. So that's a tough one. But that's what
Wow.
he had you do for your chest and back.
That sounds a lot, like a lot. All right. So what about the shoulders?
So the shoulders, after that, you catch your breath, and then you go to a compound of doing Scott presses, which he has a unique way of doing that, course, can't demonstrate that here, but you had him do that, and he would superset that or compound it with seated laterals, 4 sets of 12 reps. So again, to kind of break out what compound means versus superset, you would do a set of compound or a set of Scott presses. You'd rest for a short period of time, and then you go right to the seated laterals. So that's what again, these are working different areas. So that's why it's called a compound, in my opinion. Versus a superset, there is no rest. You go immediately from one to the other.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So there's a distinction there. And then for that, he had 4 sets of 12 reps for that routine.
Wow. All right. So I am going to assume that legs are for day 3.
Yeah. So with this, he really brought in what he called the Dillinger squat, which, all of his squats were holding the bar on your shoulders or in the front. Now, I hate that kind of movement because I don't have the right shoulder capacity to hold the bar, by your neck comfortably. And so I'm more focused on hanging on the bar than I am with the legs. But Vince had his own little technique of doing that, which I'm sure it worked. But he had to do the Dillinger squats, and then he'd have you compound that with the lying leg curl, which he had a leg curl machine at that time, and he had a unique way of using that. So you do the Dillinger squat, catch your breath for the rest period you had, and then you do the leg curl, and then again go back to the Dillinger squat. So this was 4 sets of 12 reps he did for the basically the quads and the hamstrings. And then for calves, he did seated toe raises for 4 sets of 12 reps, which is kind of unique because he really likes to do 20 reps with calves, but he did that for the seated. And then you follow that up with the standing toe raises for 4 sets of 20 reps. And then after you got done with that, then he had you do what he called the calf flush. This is what he calls a flush set. So what you're doing here, you're going to not use any weight, you're using body weight, but you're going to do a calf raise on one leg, come up, and then you're going to switch to the other leg, go down and come up, and switch back, go down and come up. And he had you 4 sets of 20 reps. So that one had to be a really good burn, but you are getting a slight break when you switch back from one leg to the other. That's what he calls a flush set. So that was kind of unique because I hadn't really heard about that one before and his other stuff.
Well, that sounds like a whole lot of exercise right there. And boy, he didn't skimp on anything, did he?
Well, he's trying to increase intensity. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're running out of time here, Arman. Anything else you'd like to add as we wrap up this segment?
So what he also goes into, that's why I was saying there's a lot of material there. He goes into his contest training at this point. And so, for using the maximum definition diet, he talks about how he structured his contest prep, and it was 12 weeks is what he had. And so the way he broke up the 12 weeks is you do the first month, you would do 8 sets of 8. So you had to do 8 sets of 8 training, but it's only one exercise for 8 sets of 8. Okay. And that's for each body part. And you do that. And then 4 weeks later, you're going to go to 6 sets of 6, which again, keeping everything the same. So all he's doing is adding heavier weight with less reps. But then the last 4 weeks, it's 4 sets of 12 reps for everything. So excluding the calves, the calves are usually kept at 20. So the final 4 weeks, that's a good change up. And then as part of that, he goes into his ab specialization program to add into all of this for his contest prep. So it was a great conclusion, I thought, which I'm sure he did too, to finishing up his master series of training.
Well, pretty awesome. Wow, we've completed the master series for Vince Gironda.
Yeah. Thank God.
Wow, we have done it.
One, man.
Yeah. Well, we hope you guys have enjoyed it. Arman put a lot of effort into this entire master series by Vince. As he said earlier, you can pick that up on nspnutrition.com. And Arman, great work, man. We appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, stand by for a quick word from NSP Nutrition, and Arman and I will be right back.
Hey, Hey, welcome back to the NSP Nutrition Show. I'm Arman Eckelbarger.
And I'm Frank Mills. And hey, before we get into the next segment, I'm going to talk about the NSP Mega One multivitamin.
Oh, yeah.
If you're looking for a good multivitamin or you're taking one, you're not getting the results that you want, I can personally highly recommend taking the NSP Nutrition Mega One. It's the best multivitamin I've ever taken. An immediate difference when I switched, and I haven't changed since. So, Arman, I don't know. I think you take it too, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've taken a lot of different vitamins. I've done the $100 vitamins per month and, 50, 60 and all this kind of stuff. And I got to say that for the value with these, I think they're top shelf. So that's all I'm using because for what you pay to have them, they last you a long time and they work. So I'm a big fan of it too. So anyways.
Well, check them out on nspnutrition.com. And now we're going to get into the next part of our show, which is Vince's maximum definition diet.
Yeah.
Arman, Vince had so many different diets depending on what he wanted you to do, what training program you were in. This is really pretty cool from what I have heard about this diet. I'm excited to hear more about what you think about it. But, what are your thoughts on the maximum definition diet?
Well, it's a great diet. And some of the things that is kind of funny is it's similar to the steak and egg diet. Okay. So in a nutshell, the difference is, when you do the steak and egg diet, you do the steak and egg diet. And again, you're staying low carb, but with the maximum definition diet, this is what he just has you have just protein. So it's protein, so you can have any type of meat that you prefer or type of protein that you prefer. Again, he wanted to have all natural protein, so we'll talk more about that. But that's really the only differentiator is how he structured it, which also makes sense because, you can only do steak and egg so long and then things start getting a little boring. So anyways.
Right. Now, when you talk about meat, because, you're talking about bacon, you're talking about ground beef, you're talking about steak, right? You're talking about chicken, any kind of protein.
Yeah. So what do he want you to do? Just like with the steak and egg diet, he wants you to eliminate the carbs, okay? Because he wants you to get that insulin out of the way, so that all you're going to do is burn fat. So you eliminate the carbs,
okay.
And the only dairy you could have on top of any kind of meat is going to be cream and butter. So you could have sausage, you could have bacon, you could have steak, you could have eggs. I mean, he didn't really distinguish between that. Just what your preference is, fish, etc. Those are all good to go. Now, the one thing I will say is, along with the meat, though, once you deplete your carbs, there's going to be a point where you're going to need to reload them. So his suggestion was every 4 to 5 days, you have one carb reload meal. And his preferred meal was pasta with red sauce, just regular white pasta with red sauce to reload the muscles in the liver, because you start getting depleted with glycogen, even though you're getting glucose from the protein source. People don't realize that, but you do, because those amino acids from the protein, as they break down, converts to glucose. So that's why you can do this kind of a diet. And he kind of knew that, but also it doesn't stimulate insulin. So you are just burning fat and you're protecting muscle loss because of the protein intake. So, it's really, really smart.
Have you done this diet?
Yes, I have. And I got to say, my thinking is you can't necessarily do it exactly like he has from my personal experience, because what I found is I got carb depleted a lot sooner. And so what happens is you get too carb depleted, you get flat, you lose your strength because you need to reload the muscles in the liver for energy, even though you're still getting some from the protein intake. So I just found with me, and I was also a lot leaner. So I think Vince has an assumption, depending on how lean people are starting, because I never do a 12-week diet. I don't need to. 6 weeks and I'll be where I need to be. So when you're leaner, I think you need to have the carb reload date a lot more often. So that's what I end up having to do. I'd have it every 2 or 3 days, have a carb reload day, just to kind of keep things moving forward.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, it sounds pretty simple to follow. I mean, just eating any kind of meat that you want is pretty good. I'm kind of curious about the supplementation, though. Is there anything there?
Yeah, so it is an easy diet to follow. It's pretty easy to track. So if you want to, track it on MyFitnessPal or whatever app you're using for nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
you could do that, and you can see how how your calorie content and fat and protein are coming along with any carbohydrates. So that's a good thing. But what Vince learned by focusing on eating meat alone, meat has a lot of phosphorus in it. And so this high phosphorus content that you get from eating pure meat is what can cause some glitches. And so he wanted you to have some phosphorus-free calcium every night to help offset the calcium, the phosphorus content.
Hmm.
Which I thought, well, I didn't realize it either, but I did notice some jitteriness and things like that as what he had commented on.
Mm-hmm. And so, what is that supposed to do, Arman?
So apparently, when you again take a lot of phosphorus in your system,
Uh-huh.
because it's coming from the protein. So what this does, it builds up, and it can start to cause you to get a little jittery, and it can affect your nerves. Excess phosphorus. And you can look it up. I mean, I looked it up myself, and when I did it, and it is a reality. So Vince is
Hmm.
like, okay, not a problem. He figured out a way to offset it, and that's where he found out about phosphorus-free calcium is the best way to do that. Which that's pretty smart, and takes
Right.
that problem away.
Well, knowing Vince, that's probably not the only supplement, right?
Nah, hell no.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Not happening, man. But the guy, he's trying to get you maximum returns for your efforts, and so he just kept looking. Where can I get another edge? Where can I get another edge? And so, yeah, I mean, he always has a lot of them. And again, I'm not going to go into all of them at this point either, but we've kind of covered them in other chapters. But I will say this: because of the high protein, this is where he was really big on the digestive enzyme part for each
Mm-hmm.
meal. You want to make sure you got to maximize the absorption of your protein, break it down, get it in your system. But at this part, he recommended you do the digestive enzymes for 3 days on, then take a day off from the digestive enzymes, which would make sense to let your body kind of readjust. So
Right,
that was
right.
pretty interesting, which most people probably don't even think about that. But this is to get the maximum absorption from the protein. Then he also goes into taking glandulars, which we haven't really highlighted that. But the thing with taking a glandular, which is we're going to talk about glands. So like the glandulars that he was talking about were orchic, pituitary, adrenal, etc. What these glandular extracts, which come from different animals, mostly he got his from beef, is to
Mm-hmm.
help nourish these particular glands, like the pituitary gland, the testicle gland. This would be to keep everything functioning at a high level, keep that gland nourished so that it's
Right.
functioning to secrete the hormones you need. So again, pretty cutting edge at that point in time because outside of that, this is a natural strategy. Everybody else is starting to move more into the drug strategy. But he just felt like if you're doing this will help maintain the muscle and keep you growing. So pretty cutting edge. And then he really emphasized taking the orchic glandulars before and after training, and I'm sure that's to help with testosterone production because that's what it's going to help nourish is the testicles to make more testosterone.
Armin, is this where the hormone optimizer came from?
Yeah, so the hormone optimizer is just a combination of all
Excuse
the
me.
different glandulars. So it was called Sterol 11. And so he wanted to make sure that the adrenal glands and kidney and all these other related glands would get well nourished. And that's what he came up with that. So now the hormone optimizer has been adjusted some. It doesn't have all these different glandulars in it. This has the
Mm-hmm.
main glandulars that for muscle building would be most effective. And so that's what you're going to see in the hormone optimizer.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Well, we're running out of time. Any final thoughts?
Well, yeah, the maximum definition diet, in my opinion, it really works well. But again, you got to watch that carb reload day. So don't feel like you got to do it perfect because not everything's going to be perfect. So you may have to adjust based on how you're feeling. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to experiment with that. Okay. Now, the other thing is, this is like some people like these different diets, they're only designed to be used for a certain period of time, not forever. So keep that in mind. Like the steak and egg diet's only for a certain period of time. The max definition diet is to get maximum definition. So, at the most, you're talking 12 weeks. Now, I can't do it for 12 weeks because I lean out much quicker. But keep that in mind when you're doing any kind of nutritional program. All right. And then at the same time, I do feel like the glandular strategy, if you buy quality glandulars, which, that's always a debatable thing there, but they do help with nourishing the glands the right way, which keeps your body functioning at a high level and keeps your recovery working better. So I'm a big fan of taking those, especially if you're going to be all natural, because you're doing everything all natural. It's just a matter of, implementing it into your nutrition.
Well, Arman, a lot of great information on Vince's maximum definition diet, and I appreciate everything that, you bring to the show, man. Always great information.
No problem. Really enjoy it. Now, we do want to kind of help get more people involved. So, if you can help us out and share this with other people, we're looking for more subscribers, again, to get more feedback on what we're doing. The more subscribers we get, the better information we have. And so if you can help us out, get more subscribers, that'd be awesome. So refer it to friends. If you feel like the show has good value for you, refer it to people and see if they want to subscribe, because we have some goals we want to achieve with our subscriber list to make it better and better. So let us know if you comment, and then start sharing the show with people.
Absolutely. If you have any suggestions for topics, or if you have any added information you'd like Arman and I to cover, we'd be glad to do that. You can either comment in YouTube, or you can email at support@nspnutrition.com, and we will definitely get that information out there. And, for subscribing, I guess a really important part of that too is, if you have a friend, a family member, even somebody you work with, anything that you feel they may benefit for some of the content that we're going over, that's all the reason to say, hey, man, have you checked this show out? Even if they just start a multivitamin, it could be affecting their health that way. And you never know how you can affect somebody's health by just suggesting something. So we'd appreciate any support that you can offer us. And, Arman, that's why we do what we do, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're here to help, and hopefully you're getting takeaways every time we do the show. And if you're not, let us know.
Well, again, thanks for joining us today, and join Arman and I next week for a brand new episode of the NSP Nutrition Show.
Hey, thanks for checking out the NSP Show. Go to nspnutrition.com, where you can find a whole heap of resources to help you achieve stunning definition and eye-popping levels of muscularity. Don't forget, you can save 10% on your first order by using the code NSP Show at the checkout. Catch you next time.